welcome YouTube friends and family to today's edition of the Wellness Homesteader. So unexpectedly, and please excuse my perspiring face, I've been running around. We decided, my girlfriend Danette and I decided that we were going to go strawberry picking today instead of tomorrow, just based on the Strawberries Farms Facebook post. I have a feeling we won't get a lot if we wait until tomorrow. It's a lovely cool morning. It is only 60 degrees at 8:45, so we'll be heading out shortly. I will be trying to film a little bit. My girlfriend doesn't want to be filmed, and I totally get that. That's why you've never seen my son on a video as well. But I do want to show you, what it looks like and just maybe a little bit about it. And then over the next couple days, but it'll just be a moment for you, we're going to do some strawberry preservation, and I'm going to try doing it at least 3 different ways. I think you'll enjoy this, might give you some ideas. So I will see you all shortly. We're getting ready to take off. Well, back from strawberry picking, and they forewarned us when we went this morning that it's been so dry. We had the driest May on record. We have not had any rain in June as well, and today is the 5th that I'm filming this portion of the video. But y'all, I ended up with 10 pounds of the most amazing strawberries ever. Now you had to really hunt and peck, but yeah, this is my strawberry. So $3.75 a pound you pick. And the reason that I ended up going today, we had originally planned to go tomorrow, was they had said with the dry weather that they did not think that they would be open later in the week, and their berries are about gone, but there were a lot of people there. It was really fun, but it took quite a while to get that many berries. They give you 2 rows to pick. It's Jackson Fruit Farms in Xenia, Ohio. And if you all could smell this, it smells so amazing. Now I will confess, I've had a busy day already. I got up and cleaned the whole house. I'm working on a dehydrating project. I'm working on another video as well. So I'm going to take a little rest, and I probably won't get to prepping these strawberries probably until tomorrow. I think they'll be fine at room temperature. I don't have enough room in my fridge for this. That's for sure. I don't think so. And it's lunchtime too. It took me about, close to, I would say about 2 hours. Yeah, about 2 hours to pick that many, which is not that long. But you're either standing and bent over or crawling on your hands and knees. And these are not necessarily organic berries, but what I can tell you is their treatment must be very limited because everything was very weedy, and they used straw for their weed barrier, and there were a ton of thistles. Ask me how I know. I might have sat on a few. So I'll see you a bit later, and we're going to get up to preserving these strawberries, and we're going to do it a few different ways. So I hope you'll stay tuned. It'll just be a moment for you. So as the title of this video suggests, I've been thinking about different ways that I am preserving food. And while I don't just want to put everything in a jar, as you see back here, or everything in the freeze dryer, or dehydrate everything, or can everything, or freezer everything, I think a good rounded mixture of those items can be really beneficial. So let's say you have an unfortunate extended power outage and you lose your freezer items. So you lose any berries that you might have frozen. And strawberries frozen are really best, in my opinion, to use for like smoothies, etc. Or let's say your freeze-dried strawberries, the jar comes unsealed and you develop an air leak and they absorb water and they spoil. That could happen as well. I think the safest thing to do with a strawberry is to put it in a jam and put it on your shelf. It probably has the least risk, although jars can come unsealed as well. So I decided this year I am going to do a variety of things. Now y'all may be wondering, what on earth were you putting in your berries? So the location, as I just shared, does not advertise as organic. However, I can tell you that these are a lot fresher because I handpicked them myself, right? And a little straw. I think a lot less chemical laden than what you would buy at the grocery store. Some of these berries, just, a good size handful, came from my organic berries, but I'm just mixing them all in. So what I was using was Thieves Fruit and Vegetable Soak. And not only will it kill anything germ-wise, because it's made with essential oils, it cleans your vegetables very well. You just put 2 tablespoons per gallon of water. And I believe, and this is a Kym believe, so don't quote me on this, that it effectively lowers some of the herbicide, pesticide burden. I follow, because I do sell Young Living products. I'm not super active with it, guys. I love the discount. It's always listed in the description box below because you do get 25% off everything you buy for a year. And a few of you have signed up, I know, for the discount. So that's always an excellent deal. But a lot of the gals that I follow that are big in Young Living swear that it lowers the pesticide burden. Now, it's not advertised that way, so I can't swear by it. I do want to show you, even though these berries were hand-picked, and I hope y'all can see this, because there's some suds. Look at how dirty this water is. Can you tell how brown it is? I mean, that's some dirty water, guys. Now, once you have soaked for a minute or two, then you want to rinse it really well. I have never had any residual taste left on my fruit or veg, and I do all my fruits and vegetables with this, even things that I grow, because I'm always amazed how dirty things get. So we'll set those aside to drain a little bit. And then I want to talk to you about something that I'm going to try this time. Let me mop up like all the waters. So you may be wondering, what are those racks that you have? Well, y'all, I have an electric dehydrator. I may be using it for some of this, but I also have a sun oven. So I've done my research, and according to what I read, because you want to dehydrate at like 105 to 115, depends on your preference, you do not want your sun oven pointed at the sun because it's going to cook your strawberries, not dehydrate them. So it may require a little bit more finesse to keep it out of the direct sunlight than it would if you were cooking and adjusting to be in maximum sunlight. So with my sun oven, and I bought the Off-Grid with Doug and Stacy version, so it did come with these dehydrator racks. So there are 3, and if you use the leveler bottom that everything sits on. If you use that as well, you could have 4 dehydrating racks. Because I'm unsure how this is going to come out, I did get the, and guys, these are stained from years of use. I took some of the plastic racks out of my electric dehydrator so that I would have something that I could use, you know, to let the air circulate and they wouldn't be just stuck to the rack or falling through the rack. But what I read is, and I'm going to work and talk at the same time, is that it can take up to 2 days, which kind of makes sense. Like, I'm not surprised by that. And strawberries are very juicy, so there is a lot of liquid that you're going to have to dehydrate out. So, you know, you're going to have to babysit it. What you want to do when you go out, instead of latching down your door, you want to move the latches over so the door is cracked so that you have some good air circulation, which is an important part of dehydrating. I also have noted that folks are saying the top rack will get done first, so you have to kind of keep an eye on it. You may have to rotate racks. You may pull one rack before another rack, etc., etc. You get the gist of the idea. I prefer, honestly, I prefer my strawberries freeze-dried, but if you can hear in the background, my freeze dryer is still running because I have blueberries and rhubarb in there. Freeze dryer's been getting a workout, as it always does during harvest season. So I have to wait until it finishes. It probably has a couple more hours. And I like pre-freezing my product before I put it in the freeze dryer. Up until this year, I had always just put fresh items in and figured, you know, that's what it does. It freezes stuff, right? But I can tell you it really shortens your processing and thus your electricity, and your freezer's running anyway, right? So it's not a big deal. Wow, guys, these are just so juicy. My hands and my nails don't even look, y'all. I always cut my nails short for garden season because it's not even worth it. They just look atrocious. So I'm going to keep working. I'm going to get these trays filled up. Now, it is about 12:30 in the afternoon. So I'm quite sure these won't be ready by bedtime. So it says what to do, you know, overnight. You don't even have to bring them in. Simply, you know, close your, my goodness, sun oven, you know, so an animal doesn't get in there. I'm not worried about that at all, but you do want to close it. And then in the morning when you get up, you want to resume, you know, open it for the air circulation, etc. So I'm going to keep on slicing here. And once I get them into the sun oven, I will take you out just for a quick view so you can see if you happen to have a sun oven and you're debating on whether or not to get the dehydrator racks. What I love about it, guys, is it's not using any power. However, I'm sure that my electric meter is spinning madly when I use my freeze dryer. And guys, that is something to take into account. Freeze drying does use a lot of electricity. So I will see you shortly.
Who wants a treat? Did she take your treat? Here you go, baby. You girlies like those, don't ya? Nothing goes to waste. I'll turn them into eggs. Oh, that was a good girl. You ready for some more? Yeah? There you go, girls. Oh, I'm sorry I scared you. So fun.
All right, y'all. So I've just set the trays inside. It's at right about 100 degrees, so I'm happy with that. We're going to turn the latches in so that when we close the door, sorry to bubble around, it leaves it cracked open. So I'm going to keep a close eye on the temperature. I think we'll be okay. We'll see. We may have to move it totally over in the shade. All right, y'all. It's time for method number 2, and we have cooled down the freeze dryer, and I have some trays here of strawberries. Now, I do not have the silicone mats that fit the Harvest Right freeze dryer trays. Y'all, I'm sorry to bobble all over. So I'm just using parchment and loading these up. And for those of you who are curious about a freeze dryer, you simply lock the lid. So we've loaded the trays, hit continue, and it's gonna tell you, I'm sorry, you have to close the valve back here, which I don't know if I can even do with one hand. There we go. And it will start freezing. And then in about 24 hours, we'll have some freeze-dried strawberries. So, method number 2, on its way. So, I would be remiss, let me scooch down here, if I didn't tell you that, yes, I will be using some of these strawberries fresh, and my kombucha is ready today. So, I am going to make some strawberry kombucha on my second ferment. So y'all, I am growing all the scobies. It's like unbelievable how many scobies. So that is 3 right there. And we'll definitely want to save off enough liquid. So let me, whoa, pour it everywhere. Wow, that's a great job, Kym. Best laid plans sometimes. And I find, for me, it's a little easier to fill my bottles if I use a cup. So, what I've done here is I've just diced up a few strawberries that I will put in each bottle for the second ferment. Now, you could have flavored the whole kombucha batch if you wanted to use a separate SCOBY, and I am going to be freeze drying some scobies. I've already done some so that I can have various and sundry flavors. So just a few pieces of strawberry in each. We will fill it. And I like to fill it about 3/4 full. No magic to that. It's just that way it's not quite so much for me to consume at once. So I'm just going to fill these up. I will re-lid them. They will set on the counter for another about 4 days, and then they will be refrigerated. And during that time, they will start to develop some carbonation. There's a little bit already, as you see, but it will become much more carbonated naturally. So it's a great substitute for me from soda. I'm not a huge carbonated beverage fan, but it's really good. It's so good for your gut health. Y'all, I've been having a little bit every day, and it has really helped me. So I highly recommend that. So this is just one more use for some fresh strawberries. And I'm also thinking about a fresh strawberry pie like they make at Frisch's. Because I have that recipe. I'm not sure it'll be in this video, but let's keep on working. All right, time to get busy on all the rest of these strawberries. So I have soaked them in the Thieves fruit and vegetable soak for a couple minutes, rinsed them really well. Because I simply picked the 2 rows that they gave me, I really don't, I know I had 10 pounds, but I don't know in cups how much that's going to equal. And I want to make lots of strawberry jam. So I'm going to sit here, watch myself a little YouTube, catch up on all y'all's YouTube videos that are also part of my channel. And I'm going to prepare strawberries. And yes, I am sitting in my chair. Save my back a little bit. So I'm debating back and forth like whether I want to count outside or inside, and I'll tell you why today. There are fires which I'm so sorry to hear, in Canada. And for whatever reason, the jet stream is bringing it right through our area. So we have been on an air quality alert for a couple days now. Plus, we have not had any rain in like over a month. So that's, I'm sure, a portion of the air quality issue. So I think it's fine. I'll probably just camp outside. But let's see how many strawberries we get, how much jam that's going to translate to. I'm thinking about doing half of it as freezer jam, half as canned jam, so that I have a couple options. And yes, I think freezer jam tastes a little bit different than home canned jam, just because you're not processing it in a water bath. So I think the strawberries taste a little better, quite honestly. But I also don't want to fill up my freezer with jars, because freezer space is a primo for me. So again, I need to stop talking. Y'all know I can talk. And I need to get busy prepping these strawberries. I will bring you back and let you know how much I got from the remaining strawberries. So remember, we have some out in the sun oven, dehydrating. I put some in my kombucha. I have 4 trays in my Harvest Right freeze dryer. So this is actually the 3rd method that we're going to be working on. Stay tuned. Well, y'all, we finally made it outside. All those berries are taken care of. So I have in here, and I'm using the, I apologize being in and out, book of home preserving. I have, let me double check, 5 cups of smashed strawberries, and it was 8 cups of whole. I'm going to add to that 4 tablespoons of lemon juice and a package of regular powdered fruit pectin, and we're going to bring that to a full rolling boil. So, some of you have asked, what do I think of my outdoor kitchen? Am I glad I did it? So, I'm adding my 4 tablespoons of lemon juice. I love it, and I'm going to be 100% transparent, y'all. What I don't love about it is hauling everything out and putting everything away. But that's going to be true whether I'm doing it in the house or outdoors, right? It's just a little further. All right. Let me give that a stir. And I had this on really, like the lowest. Okay, we're going to turn it a little bit lower. And I'm going to be just using 1 package of Sure Gel. My girly girls, ooh, a recipe thing. My girly girls are running all over the yard, so if you see them go by or you hear some bawking, they are just living their best life. They start crying as soon as the sun is up. Or, I say crying. They start bawking to get out as soon as the sun comes up. So let me just show you what I'm doing here, y'all. So I've added about half of the powdered pectin. Y'all, we are a little bit cooler, thank the Lord, but we still have not had any rain whatsoever. But they are saying we are going to have a stretch of rain. So I'm counting on that, Mr. Weatherman. So it says stir it until it's dissolved, which we're going to do. And then bring it to, oh, y'all, this smells so good, a full rolling boil that can't be stirred down. In the meantime, I'm going to measure out 7, yes, I said 7 cups of sugar. Because you add it, y'all, all at once. I have a bowl here, and I vacuum seal my sugar because I buy it in 25-pound bags. I vacuum seal it into jars. It just works out really, really well for me. And I go through a ton of sugar in canning season, but not a ton of sugar just in day-to-day, you know, eating. So, whoops, too far from my tea. Okay. So each of these jars should have exactly 4 cups of sugar, but we'll double measure just to be certain. So we're gonna leave about a cup in the jar. Yeah, we're a little shy yet. All right, now let's give it a shake here. I think that's about 6. Don't want to lose my recipes now. Might be something we need to cook. Now, see, it may be a little bit off my measurements, so let's add a little bit more sugar. A couple things to note about jam recipes. Jam is one of the easiest things to make. It's truly one of my favorites. So you do want to follow the recipe precisely. And they say don't double it. Ooh. Let me fall down on camera. Yeah, I've doubled them. They say it won't gel properly. Never had that problem personally, but I'm just telling you what it says. So we're going to bring this to a full rolling boil. Add the sugar all at once, stirring constantly. Return to a full rolling boil that can't be stirred down. Boil hard, stirring constantly for 1 minute. Remove from heat, skim off foam, and then fill our jars. So full rolling boil, add our sugar, back to a boil, 1 minute, and it'll be done. So hopefully our water will be ready about the same time. Now, can you just, right there. That's my girly girl. That's Miss Jolene, who will eat out of my hand, who comes over pretty much on the daily and says, "Hi, Mom, will you picky me up and kiss my head?" She's definitely like my most sweet. So just a word about the strawberries. I've got an eye on the sun oven, dehydrating. I've got the 4 trays in the freeze dryer and 2 quarts. And if you put your strawberries washed with a paper towel in a glass mason jar in the fridge, they stay longer. And I want those for eating. It's really like a quart and a half. I have all of this for my jam, and then I also have another batch of crushed up berries for our freezer jam. So I think I did pretty well. And because I do have some strawberries on the property for fresh eating, I'm not going to worry about leaving volumes for fresh eating because it's just not relevant for me. What do I do with all this jam, you might ask? Guys, it's great in overnight oats. It is great in plain yogurt if you like to make homemade yogurt, which I do. It's great on toast. I like it on waffles. Strawberry jam is definitely one of my favorites. I think grape is my absolute favorite, grape jelly, but I definitely like me some strawberry jam. So as you see, we are coming up to a boil. So I'm going to pay attention to this, get it to a full rolling boil that can't be stirred down. So that means when you're stirring it, it is still boiling. Then I'll dump in all the sugar, bring it back up, boil it a minute. So sorry to repeat myself. I'll see you in a few. All right, y'all. Full rolling boil was achieved. I just dumped in the 7 cups of sugar all at once. Someone will probably ask, can you use artificial sugar? And y'all, I am not an expert in that arena, so I really cannot advise you on that. I would say, you know, maybe do your own research on that. You certainly could on your freezer jam because that's not, we're not processing and canning it. We're putting it in a jar, but it's not being processed and shelf stable. Okay, this is getting beautifully thick. I hope y'all can see this. Really nice. So we'll get it back up to a boil. I'll time it for 1 minute. I'll bring you back. One of the things that you can do to help with the amount of foam is to add like a pat of butter and stir that in. This made a lot of foam today. And also, y'all, make sure your pan is big enough because this will rise significantly in your pan. I had a moment of panic because, as you see, it got pretty close right up there to about 1/4 of an inch of the top. But this is what I've always made jam in, so I'm just stirring this down a little bit. And then I'm going to take just a little bit of this foam off. So there's what the foam looks like. The foam does not affect anything but the look of your jam. This is a lot of foam. So I usually eat the foam. Just saying. Okay, guys. I should have a spoon rest out here. So let's start filling jars. So over here in the water bath canner, I have been heating my jars. And I'm going to do these one at a time. On any jam or jelly, you want about 1/4 inch headspace. Now that is like the foamiest jelly. Hopefully it'll calm down a little bit. And because this stuff is so thick, y'all, you definitely want to debubble. And then, wait for it. It's hard to have everything outside, you know. I'm gonna throw the lid to the vinegar on the ground, on the deck. You want to really clean your rims well. Now, I'm using 4 jars canning lids. Technically, you do not have to, that's hot, soak your lids. I do. I think it softens the rubber compound. So, let's go for number 2. So same process here. I like to have an extra jar, just it decreases the amount of mess that I make. But if you've all watched me can, you know that's a relative term. Ooh, guys, it smells amazing. And please excuse the look of my hair, y'all. It's just, yeah, it's kind of a frizzy day today. All right, I'm going to continue to fill this up. This is supposed to make 8. And then, I'll have to look. I'll bring you back and tell you how long we'll process for. Okay, y'all, as I've always shared, my jar count never comes out to what theirs is. I think that's pretty common. Yeah, everything I own is sticky. But y'all, let me tell you something. I dropped a glob, so let me, on the canning mat. Y'all, that's delicious. Those were very, as I said, very small berries, but extremely flavorful. So I got 10 half pints. I'm watching some hawks, y'all. They've never bothered the chickens. I don't know if they're like that kind of a bird. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that. Anyway, 10 minutes processing time. Turn the heat off, wait 5. And then you can remove the jars from the canner. So I'm gonna bring you back at that point. In the meantime, watch out, girly girls. I better go see about this hawk that's flying in circles. I think they're looking for roadkill. Oh, and I also wanted to tell y'all, if you're hearing gunfire in the background. Ooh, somehow I got it on my shirt. Yeah, well, the police officers qualify at an area near me, but it echoes very, very much. So that's, you may be hearing that. It's not like the Hatfields and the McCoys. Only in Cedarville, Ohio. And I hope you all have picked up on my strawberry shirt and my strawberry earrings in honor of Strawberry Palooza. All right, I will see you all shortly. All right, we have 10 jars. of jam out of the canner. That is a metal tray that I have them sitting on. So I've already heard a couple of them seal. I've had my first burner blow out with the wind, so I may have to do some reconfiguring just to give myself a little more. You hear the ping? Shh, Jolene. So I want you to separate in your mind these two recipes because I am going to make some freezer jam. Now let me share with you this recipe, and there's a million of them, guys. Came from tastebetterfromscratch.com. Forget everything you know about canning because this is going to be in the freezer to preserve it. Not canned, not sealed. I am going to do it in half-pint jars, just like we did the canned jelly, but the lids are not going to be sealed and it's going to go into the freezer. So here's what you do, and y'all, I don't play with recipes for canning because of safety issues. You can play with recipes for freezer jams, just realizing it may not come out at the consistency you prefer. I am so sorry about the chickens, y'all. It's just life with chickens. So it says, measure exactly 2 cups of strawberries into a bowl and mashed up. Okay, they say put them in the food processor. Well, I have 3. That's what I did, so I'm gonna go with it. So I'm going to 1.5 this recipe. It calls for 4 cups of sugar. I am going to use 5. I think it's a gracious plenty. I'm not going to use 6 cups of sugar. So the first thing we're going to do here is, and again, this is not canning, y'all. Please don't hurt your family. So I'm gonna put all those delicious berries in. And it says to go ahead and add the sugar into it, okay? So we're already totally different than a canning recipe where the sugar gets added after the pectin. So what is this doing? Well, it's going to allow the sugar to dissolve somewhat, and it's going to macerate the berries. In other words, get more of the juice out of the berries. So we are gonna let this set for 10 minutes after I get it stirred up. I'm gonna figure out what's wrong with Jolene. Guys, they do this all day long. I mean, it doesn't bother me unless I'm filming. And then when we come back, we're going to be heating up some water and pectin on the stove to add to, and then we will jar it. So I will see you just shortly. All right, y'all, we're on to our next step. So here I have what should be 3/4 cup of water. I have a cup. And to that, you are supposed to add 1 package of pectin. So I'm going to do that. And I am actually using a cup of water and 2 extra tablespoons of pectin. Again, I'm simply 1.5ing the recipe. Which I've done many, many times for freezer jam, and it always comes out fine. All right. So what it says next is bring to a boil over high heat, stirring constantly. Guess I could get in a better position. Oh, how about that? I don't have to twist around. Once boiling, stir for 1 minute. Remove from heat, add it to the strawberry mixture. Stir really well for several minutes until sugar is dissolved. Then you can go ahead, turn that down just a touch, and jar it up. Now, because we are going into the freezer, and this jam will expand, instead of the 1/4 inch headspace, we're going to leave half. This recipe makes 6 half pints. I got out 9 jars. Just, you know, being proactive. And I have a chicken right back here, Miss Jolene, dust bathing in my flower bed. Yeah, kicking the mulch out in the yard. I've given up on that part, but they enjoy it. So yeah, I can see that this is starting to thicken. So this is what will actually thicken your jelly. So let me stir and boil this for a minute. I'll bring you back when we're ready to jar. Time to hitch up your pants and start filling our jars with freezer jam. Now again, guys, this isn't hot, and it's a lot thicker, and you do want to leave that 1/2 inch headspace. I still like to debubble because it gives you a prettier jar, and it's a little bit harder, honestly, y'all, to get this like completely smooth, my opinion. And even though the jars aren't going to be sealed, I still like to wipe the rim with a little vinegar. And the reason I like to do that is so that you don't end up with a sticky lid. So let's keep going. And this is set up beautifully. So I don't think I have any worries that it is not thick enough. If you look on the back of your Sure-Gel pack or whatever type of pectin you're using, it will tell you what the equivalent teaspoons, tablespoons are to a package on a bottle, or you can Google it. So that's how I kid. There's a little over 5 tablespoons in a jar. So how pretty is this? All right, y'all, I'm gonna keep filling, then I'm gonna bring you back, let you know where we are on strawberries every way you can think of. And we'll close this video out. So let's get into a final update. So as you see, our strawberries are really dehydrating well. We're hanging at about 100 degrees. We're at about the 24-hour mark. I imagine they will be finished by end of day. I will speak up for this portion over the pump for the freeze dryer, but as you see, our strawberries are through the freezing and vacuum freezing, and they're into the drying phase. Now this will be several more hours, but here's what we'll end up with. These lovely and delicious freeze-dried strawberries. So all 10 of our water bath canned strawberry jam has sealed, and then we have 9 that will be going into the freezer as of this evening for some delicious winter eating. And I do find that when you make freezer jam, because you're not cooking the berries, it has an even more intense strawberry flavor. I thought it might be fitting to do my outro in my happy place, my beautiful, beautiful garden. That was a lot of work, y'all. And someone out there in keyboard warrior land is going to say, I don't understand why you don't just go to the store and buy all that. Y'all, there's no comparison in taste, in my opinion. I also have a lot more control over the ingredients. Now, I realize that the jams were very, very high in sugar, but that's not something you eat like a jar of at a time. So in very small quantities, I'm not concerned about the amount of sugar. What method do I like best and why? I definitely prefer the freeze drying over the dehydrating, both in the taste and the texture of the berries, as well as the length of time it takes. However, let me just say that I'm spending money on electricity to freeze dry those strawberries, and I'm spending absolutely nothing up here to dehydrate them in the sun oven. So I like that piece of it. Canning wise, I personally love canning, so I kind of like the water bath method better than the freezer jam as far as the process, as far as the taste. they're just different. I think that's the best way to say it. Freezer jam to me is sweeter and more intensely strawberry. So if that's not your jam, pun intended, you may want to consider not doing a freezer jam. Guys, my garden is going gangbusters. I am proud and amazed. I'm back here are all of my tomatoes. All of them are either blooming or they have small tomatoes. My turnips are going to seed, which doesn't prevent me from eating them. And I was, pulling off all the seed heads. And then I'm like, wait, I could have seed for turnips next year because turnips is one of my favorite vegetables. I have beans doing well, cucumbers, sunflowers. Back here, I have cabbage, I have broccoli, I have tons and tons of onions, butternut squash, zucchini, and all the pumpkins, which I'm excited about. My garlic's getting close to harvest time, but not yet. So there'll be more gardening and food preservation adventures coming. So I just want to leave you with this thought, y'all. I don't do these videos to bring honor to myself or to have people be like, wow, you did all that. That's not it at all. I do this because I truly do enjoy the whole self-sufficiency, food preservation aspect of having a garden, of things that you don't grow in quantity, sourcing them and still preserving them. And as much as I can, staying away from processed food, prepared food from the grocery store. And of course, I still rely on Azure and local farmers markets and the grocery as well, because you can't buy toilet paper at the farmers market, or at least not yet, but you can through Azure. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you would do me a huge favor, go ahead and smash that like button. Drop me a comment below. What was your favorite way that I preserved strawberries in this video? Now, I will see you all on Saturday. I have a really fun video coming up on Saturday. I've been working 2 videos at the same time. Yeah, never again. It stresses me out, but I am trying to up the quality of my videos. This one's a little bit longer, but bring you things that you can really use. If you have any ideas for videos you'd like to see, don't forget to leave me that comment below. And I will see you later this week. Until then, be healthy, be well, be blessed, take care.